Live from Lincoln and broadcasting across the state of Nebraska, it's the Average Joe Sports Show. This is the place for Husker sports with the biggest names, the best interviews, and all the inside scoops.
I got a front row seat with a big tub of buttered popcorn and a greasy half-live chicken leg.
Now, here are your hosts, Chris Schmidt and Elijah Herbel.
Welcome to it. Monday is here with the Average Joe Sports Show. Chris Schmidt, Elijah Herbel. Hope you're doing okay. Victory Monday, a wild one with Michigan State. As we'll hear from Matt Rule, some final thoughts on Sparty and move towards Maryland. Numbers to get in at 489-1240, 489-1240, or 800-825-5865. Can always check in on the show and do so. Like and subscribe in the stream, the Average Joe Sports Show on YouTube. Like and subscribe, follow on Twitter. Can watch that way. AJ Sports Radio, AJ Sports Pod. And always check us out 7 days a week. Good to be with you. Elijah, kudos, my friend, to you, the faith, the money line, your Denver Broncos, ending the unbeaten season of one Philadelphia Eagles, 21-17.
Never in doubt, Schmitty.
You spoke it into existence, Costanza.
17-3. My dad stopped by my house about halftime yesterday, and he went, "I'm not watching it. I see how it's going. He was listening on the radio, which, hey, that's great way to do it as well. But he had little faith, and I'm sitting there like, oh well, there's still a lot of game left here. It was never in doubt. Sat down 17-3 in the fourth quarter. Can you believe the Broncos going into that game 2-2? Yesterday was their first time all season long trailing in the fourth quarter.
And if you're going to trail in the fourth quarter, might as well be against, the world champs.
And then come all the way back to win it. It was beautiful.
Hey, you're a happy guy.
It was beautiful. So that was financial advice for anyone that was listening to the Sunday live edition of the Average Joe Sports Show. I said it was financial advice. Anyone who followed me, you are welcome.
Yeah, and we just thought you had started the pregame a little early. No, you were all sorts of.
I know ball.
You know ball. That is true. Well, we'll try and figure out what you know about ball moving forward here. Can we figure out some answers for Nebraska's offense on the consistency front? Because, listen, there's minimal complaints with the record right now. You're at 4-1. You've won a one-score game. You've lost a one-score game. You found a way to blow a 2-touchdown lead, come back and win by double digits in just a whacked out game with tough conditions and an offensive unit. One side of the football, one of the third, offense, defense, special teams, that they haven't played their best ball yet, and they're scoring 30 points in Big Ten play against one really quality in Michigan. And we'll see what Michigan State is, but Michigan State was not supposed to do some things. They couldn't throw it against you. They scrambled against you. It happens. And defense great off the edge. Put a game plan together, thinking your guys will be better because it isn't Michigan lining up against you off the edge. And what happens? Michigan State has 5 sacks. I'm not here to beat the dead horse. I'm just talking as you look at this week coming up against Maryland and the rest of the season. What's practical, what's doable output-wise for Nebraska's offense. I think we can say defense took a step forward. Defense played pretty well. And, there's more pressure on the quarterback while the secondary stayed locked down good. Special teams got you a score, could have had another, and did really well. I'm just talking out loud here about the opportunities that Nebraska had when it comes to starting field position against Michigan State. And that's, all right, you started on average at the 47-yard line. And, well, I'm not going to sneeze at 38 points because it had been hard the previous several years to squeeze 20 out in a Big Ten game. There's points being left on the field. I know they're going to go back to work. But just from a schematic standpoint and a game plan standpoint moving forward, you're going to be living dangerously if things don't get better as much as you want, or at least you've been throwing the football.
Yeah. One thing I will say quickly here, I do want to hit on the defensive side of the ball first, because we're going to have a lot of time to complain here today.
But I don't think it's a complaint. You're just
analyze.
Yes, you're pointing out things that are good and things that need to get better, and the team has shown that they do get better.
Yeah, and
each week.
To analyze first the positive side, I said this right after the game on Saturday. I said it again yesterday. I'll say it again right now. That front seven, night and day is a little bit extreme, but they played much, much better.
Mm-hmm.
They were faster, both sideline to sideline and reading and reacting. I thought the front seven people might say they looked more aggressive. I don't think from a schematic point of view they did anything more aggressive besides the fact that they were just faster to the football.
Just doing their job quicker,
faster to the football. Exactly. More confidence. That's the perfect way to put it. So I love that off in the front seven. The back end maintains their dominance, and that's what they have been. The secondary so far this year has been dominant against opposition. They probably have their best test of the season against Maryland. I know Sorsby, now that what you're seeing him do in the rest of the Big 12, that could have been your first real test, but also you have to expect the fact that Cincinnati didn't have a whole bunch of real film on Nebraska's defense, and that's going to make things a little bit harder on a quarterback going into the experienced secondary of Nebraska, not knowing exactly what they're going to be pulling out. So I think in terms of a team that has film on you and a team that can throw the football well, Maryland is a real test, but based on what I've seen so far this year, you have a lot of confidence that Nebraska's secondary will win that battle. So we'll see on Saturday, but felt very good about what I saw from the defense. 27 points from Michigan State doesn't really tell the full story of how well your defense played. So take that into account. To flip it around offensively, I do think you saw a step forward from the offensive line, but it's still not a finished product. And I completed my rewatch yesterday during that 3:00 window of NFL games. So I was sitting in my glow after a Broncos victory. I'm like, all right, let's go back and analyze the Husker game. I thought, well, first off, running the football, I'm still surprised Nebraska didn't run the football more when the going got tough with their offense in that second and third quarter. Emmett, 13 carries. You need more from him. The running backs had 6 yards per carry on the game. I thought you needed to go to that a little bit more when the offense was sputtering. But I thought the offensive line, was it a perfect day from them? No. Did I expect a little bit more considering Michigan State's strength defensively was definitely not their pass rush? Yeah, I expected a little bit more. Can I also say I thought they played better than they did against Michigan and there was some progress? I think that's also a fair assessment for the offensive line. Not as much progress as you'd like against a team that has the quality of Michigan State, but I think it's a chance for you to go back. You're going to reevaluate. You took some steps forward. You got some more out on film now. You can continue moving forward. I thought it was a step forward, maybe not as big of a step as you'd like from the offensive line, but they played better. And the question to me is if you run the football a little bit more, does it help that offensive line with their pass protection? Because I think you probably could have had 5-10 more runs in that football game and would have worked out well for you.
Well, and listen, if you're putting a game plan together, you're looking at what you do well, what don't they do well, and you're going to chart it accordingly, wind or not. You did that, and it was just problematic. You got to come to some sort of understanding moving forward about the internal clock with your quarterback, getting rid of the football, the blocking where guys are running wide open. We'll hear from Matt Rule in a moment. With the play call, being the right play call where guys are winning. A few times it sounds like Key's been wide open and he's not seen because there's duress or you're looking somewhere else. So, the play needs to be better. There also needs to be more support. I mean, it's a group effort. That's been said. It's been underlined. But there are things that can go into it theoretically that can help with a run game, with maybe some quicker passes. And Nebraska went to that as the game wore on. So adjustments were made.
The one thing I'll say is I thought from an adjustments point of view, Dana went more tweaky as opposed to some wholesale changes, which I thought based on what I saw in the second quarter and early in the second half, you could have gone a little bit more wholesale change with some of your offensive game plan. And yeah, does that come down to the weather? I think so. I think the wind played a bigger factor maybe than Dana accounted for going into the football game. But I thought you could have gone a little more wholesale change and ran the ball a little more creatively, done some more with Mekhi Nelson and Isaiah Mosey, gotten the ball to Emmett Johnson a few more times. The adjustments were there. I think you could have seen more adjustments, but at the end of the day, a win is a win, and you'll take it. But I don't know. Is there reason for optimism coming out of this game with the offensive line from you? That's kind of the $1 million question. I thought I saw progress. I'm trying to decide if there's still reason for optimism moving forward, because Maryland's got some killers on their defensive line in terms of pass rushers.
They have a couple of freshmen that Maryland leads the Big Ten in sacks with 19. This is the third rodeo you're going to go visit with guys off the edge. So what do you do about it? Do you step up your game? Does your quarterback get rid of it quicker? Do you lean more on the run game combination? I mean, the bottom line is, if you're capable, sometimes the guy across from you is just better. If you're capable, can you play better? Okay. And this will be the second game. You've got Pritchett at left tackle. You'll have Gatula, who graded out incredibly at right tackle. You look at the total yards put up in the game. Neither team got 300, but you hit the overs easily. So you had points, but you had short fields. So you had a gritty win. I think it goes in the gritty category, and a gritty win's better than a pretty loss where you did some, cool plays, but when push came to shove, you didn't get it done. Let's hear from Matt Rule, cut number 2. He was asked, what did you see from the offensive line, Coach?
I saw a lot of good things, and I saw some other things, that have to be improved. Some of the sacks are, on them. Some of the sacks are on other people, like that. I think it's just, I think right now, Emmett Johnson is 3rd in the league in rushing, right? So the narrative that's out there that we can't run the football is kind of silly, right? We're just, college football, you take away sacks. Are we giving up too many sacks? Yes. I mean, one of them, that's what I love about Dylan Raiola. He stands up on the one. I don't know if you guys saw, he went, it's on me. He was holding the ball, right? Like, a 3rd down sack doesn't really bother me as much as a 1st and 2nd down sack. And because, if you just hurry up and get the ball in your hand and don't get the 1st down anyway, like, you're punting the ball. Now, we don't want sack fumbles. So there was just some times there, as we all saw, that things kind of got a little out of whack and out of kilter. And, we have to be better. But I don't think it's like this, oh, my gosh, we can't block anybody. We had 9 plays, I think 38 yards in the first quarter. We had a horrific second quarter, unlike anything I've ever been a part of. Right. So let's call it what it was. But we had a 104-yard third quarter. We had a 103-yard fourth quarter. So, it's on pace to be about a 420-yard day. You know what I'm saying? It's just, we just didn't play well there for a while. What I was happy about was that the guys just kept playing. They didn't panic. I mean, we have the ball in the red zone. And if you guys want to go back and watch the all 22, Dane Key runs an over route. He's wide open. It's a walk-in touchdown. And they blitz the safety. And not that we can't block him, just the left tackle just busts, doesn't block him, right? It's just a mental error. So we fixed the mental error. We keep coaching, right? It's kind of what we've been talking about all year, just trying to improve what we're doing. Some of them, the quarterback's trying to hold on, trying to make a play. And if you want to live with the great plays, you have to live with some of those plays too. So we'll keep getting better. But the narrative like, hey, we can't block anybody. I mean, we got to block better. But we're blocking people. We just got to be more consistent.
I don't know that you're going to live life real well in the win column, though, moving forward with having a second and third quarter where you have 19 plays and 23 yards. That's just it. Squandered opportunities also when you get great field position. Nebraska, again, this is nitpicky. They're 4-1, and I will take a football team that has amazing resolve above anything and everything. And I'll take a football team that hasn't blinked. So they need to be commended for that. You've seen it from year 1 to year 3 right now, where it doesn't matter what is happening momentum-wise, they figure it out. They keep fighting. So that's a monster trait to have a football team live in them. And yeah, he's right. They can get better. And yeah, it's not let's torch everybody publicly today, but you do have to have that conversation, right? About just cleaning it up. And is it going to be cleaner? Well, we saw a bye week and we saw the defensive side of the football make some strides, get some jumps. Is it the offense's turn to make some strides, make a jump when it comes to the ability to run the football, find a guy like Mosey that could maybe do some other things for you, and then just get things worked out, settled in pass pro, because you can't go to Maryland Saturday and give up 5 sacks and probably win the football game.
That's how Maryland stings you. Maryland stings you if they're able to harass Dylan and get him uncomfortable and flustered like he was. And let's call a spade a spade. He was flustered.
Mm-hmm.
Dylan was head case might be a little bit far, but I think some of the
frustrated,
issues,
man.
He was frustrated, and some of the issues you saw on Saturday were between the ears for him, whether it's a combination of Michigan's pass rush and the weather, or whether it's just the wind or whatever it may be. He was flustered. He wasn't playing like himself. That's Maryland's recipe to win this. Is they use their pass rush to fluster Dylan, get him off his spot, uncomfortable all game long, and get just enough offensively through the air, which, I mean, they're a good passing attack. They'll probably get theirs. Will they hit their season average? I think probably not. I think Nebraska's secondary is good enough to at least limit it, but that's how Maryland goes and wins this football game.
Well, the other thing I think that you're seeing now versus freshman year Dylan is freshman year Dylan would have let an interception or, a 3-and-out series where he's sacked 3 straight times maybe affect 2 series later. That didn't happen. When a play needed to be made, he made it, got the offense flipped, got the tying score to happen, and that is a marked difference. Tim Verghese, what he see from Michigan State. We'll talk some recruiting as well and thoughts on Maryland. Monday Average Joe with you here.
The stock market goes up and down.
Markets are rallying back.
Tanking right now.
Stocks were positive, also pointing down.
But if you want an easy $2,000,
all right,
your volume just needs to go up. Oh, I can't believe it. Just listen for the pumpkin payout keywords each hour during the workday. Then enter them at KFORnow.com. Win $2,000 each day this week with the pumpkin payout from KFOR.
Who you trust matters. At 1011, finding truth is our promise to you. Checking the facts on all sides to serve you with accuracy and transparency.
Weather alert day is going to continue for Friday.
From morning.
Following breaking news this morning, officers
tonight.
We're learning more about the moments after police
empowering you to make the best decisions for your family, for your future. The team you know, local, trusted. That's 1011.
When I go into some places, it's like a scavenger hunt. They just kind of point and say, I think it's this shelf over here. But when I go to Handyman, they'll take you right to it.
You've got your very own Handyman to help remodel your home.
I had them guide me along and say, well, what's this thing made out of? I needed a handyman to let me know what was best for mounted underneath the countertop for my kitchen. But I did buy everything because it's good quality. My sink is amazing. We got a gray faucet. It was a Moen. I wanted a nice, streamlined, clean look. That's why I went with Handyman. Full remodel, top to bottom. It's not our house anymore. It's our home. Thanks to Handyman for giving it that feel.
You still have time to update your home before the holidays. Check out our working displays and save on all kitchen faucets and Onyx vanity tops in October. For the very best in bathrooms, come to Handyman under the arch on Sun Valley Boulevard, Lincoln.
Handyman.
Imagine hitting rewind on your life 10, even 20 years with testosterone therapy from Limitless Male. You can turn back the aging clock and get your edge, energy, and confidence back. If you've lost your drive, sleep deprived, muscle loss, belly fat, irritable, you're not the guy you once were. Get your T levels checked at Limitless Male. More and more men are realizing hormone replacement can turn back the clock. Schedule your free consult at limitlessmale.com.
Workdays can be unpredictable, but your workwear shouldn't be. With the Cintas Apparel Plus program, you'll have freshly laundered garments for everyone on your team delivered every week. Cintas has workwear for just about any job imaginable, with high-performance fabrics and an uncompromising fit that stretches and moves with you. Don't leave looking and feeling good to chance.
We're back with more. It's the Average Joe Sports Show with Chris Schmidt and Elijah Herbel.
Back with you, Monday edition of the Average Joe Sports Show. We get our starting 5 shout-outs happening. Justin saying the new middle nickname of Elijah. It's Elijah I Know Ball Herbel with his lock of the millennium last Sunday morning.
Yeah. Denver Broncos. They were never going to lose that
His
football game.
Donks win it. Tim Verghese with his Inside Nebraska Rivals.com. Tim, who's your pro team? You're muted.
Sorry, that's my fault, I think.
Hold on.
Oh, no.
And action.
It's on me. We're back.
There's a sackle out there on 3rd and 3.
No, I'm a players guy in the NFL. I just kind of watch the games. I'm a big Lamar guy, so I've kind of just taken a liking and a rooting to the Ravens just because I'm rooting for kind of Lamar to get over the top. But for the most part, I just kind of watch the games.
All right. Well, what did Saturday show you when we go back to Nebraska, Michigan State? I think it was weird.
Yeah. It's taken a rewatch or two to kind of just sit with my feelings on the game. I still think another rewatch is probably due, and just really get a feel for that. I mean, I was talking about it with Steve with post game, but just especially that fourth quarter, I feel like I rewrote my story, post game grade story like 3 times, just because all over the place. But I think the biggest thing and the lasting thought coming out of that game is I don't know necessarily if this is a turning point necessarily. I don't think that's the best way to put it, but we talk so much this offseason about Nebraska winning close games and showing they can get up off the mat and showing they're not going to make stupid and showing they're not going to let a game get away from them when the chips are down, when nothing's going their way. And yeah, it was Michigan State. I don't know how many more games that Michigan State team is going to win, but that's an important step. Like making a play. I think more than anything for me, it's for a lot of those veterans in that locker room, for a lot of the guys that went through what last year looked like with those 5 straight losses or 4 straight losses, and just what this has looked like for the last half decade or so. It was just for a lot of people just getting through that mental block, of making that play, and then I think not just making that play late, but putting the game away the way they did, where you final 5 minutes, you're not really stressing about, like you were up by 2 scores, you had the game in hand, you put the game away. And the fact that coming out of that game, we heard from multiple recruits that were in the locker room, and we obviously heard from Matt Rule today as Sierra was in the locker room getting after guys. So that tells you something about where this program's at and what they're doing moving forward. Again, is it always going to look like this? No, does this mean okay, they're totally turning around and everything's changed here? No, not necessarily either. I mean, I still think they got to fight to win a lot of games in this conference, and I think after Saturday, I think they showed they have what it takes to fight and come out on top.
And when you look at the fight, I mean, it was kind of led by the defense made some big plays and the special teams made some huge plays. And if we take it back to like preseason July, I don't think anyone would have predicted that it would have been the defense and the special teams leading the way at this point in the season, which I think is a sign of encouragement that hey, whenever your team needed a big play, the special teams made it or the defense made it.
Right. Absolutely. I think that's huge. And I think what you have in your defense now. I think more than anything, I'm really encouraged by how the front seven's coming along. I thought we saw like Williams is really coming along. I think Deshaun's really comfortable in his role. I still think now it's more so mastering the position. You kind of saw that with the Childs kind of run around where, be a little more disciplined when you're closing in. It's little things that you learn once you know how to get into the backfield. The next step is making those plays in space. And so I think that's the next step. I still think there's obviously the best thing is to come out of games is come out with a win, but still have things to improve upon. And I think there's plenty for this team to improve upon going into next week.
Tim, let's talk improvements with the offensive line. It was just the offensive side of the football. They put up 30 points. They hit some big plays. They made plays to take momentum back and, like you said, get up off the mat. But they also put themselves in a bit of a hole with that second and third quarter. And I know the wind sucked. I get it. It sucked for both teams, and both teams had trouble on offense. But, what's realistic moving forward? What can you count on with this offense moving forward? You're on the road the next 2 weeks.
Right. And so I think it's going to come down to matchups and exploiting matchups. I think what you have in this line at this point, which is, hey, I mean, and again, like in that game, I gave, immediately post game, gave the offensive line an F grade upon, rewatch. probably would have bumped it up one or two, not very high. I mean, they still didn't play super great, but some of those sacks were on Dylan. I think there was especially early on, it was just kind of, it felt like Nebraska was really trying to get a feel for the wind in the game after that first drive, and we're really just out of sorts in that second quarter. I still can't really figure out like how the second quarter went for them the way it did offensively. It just was kind of just, it just didn't look clean, at all, like in any facet. And so that's weird. That's something I don't think we've seen from Dana Holgerson, at least since he's been coordinating, just them look so out of sorts. But I think overall you're encouraged by them bouncing back. But I mean, specifically talking the line, yeah, they can hold up enough to win you games as long as Dylan's getting the ball out quick. I think that's what the goal is at this point. They have shown they can still move people kind of in the run game, not consistently, but they can do it. I want to see them continue to do that. Want to see them kind of start to impose their will as we kind of get into a kind of a 3-week stretch here where they are probably going to be bigger on both sides of the line. I don't know about Minnesota straight up, but for the most part, I think over the next 3 weeks, I think they're going to be bigger on both sides of the ball, and I'd like to see them kind of move some people around.
It's Tim Verghese with us here. And Tim, I do have to hit the recruiting weekend that was. Want to get your thoughts on that, because you're looking ahead to a stretch where you're not going to have many upcoming visit opportunities as you hit the road for a couple of weeks. Does Nebraska feel that they have the hay in the barn in their class of 2026? More flips coming. I know the USC date is still upcoming as a potential big recruiting weekend, but it's going to be a few weeks before you're able to get recruits back into town.
Yeah, they essentially have like three more shots at this. They get Northwestern, and then they get USC, and then I kind of noted it late last week, but the more I'm talking to guys, the more I think that Iowa game is going to be a bigger visit weekend than typically those games are, just because of the way it is, where it is on the calendar. But I think Nebraska's going to get some pretty good group of talent in town that week. And so, but that USC game is going to be the biggest one, and that's really, I think, what they're trying to spotlight. I think their aim is to have a bunch of flip targets in town in the 26 class, and a bunch, as in, I mean, they only have a handful of spots left in this class, but whoever's out there, they're aiming to get them in town November 1st. And then we'll see, that Northwestern game, I'm not expecting a super crazy environment in Memorial Stadium. We'll see how many recruits show up for that. But that's another opportunity. And I don't know, man. It's in an interesting spot just because, Cameron Wilson still hasn't been to town. I'm curious how that recruitment plays out because he was at Florida State last week. He says he's going to be back in Nebraska. But, Nebraska's options at a need right now at Jack in this class is dropping. Jordan Campbell seems pretty happy with his Miami commitment. At this point, the way Miami's playing, he's got no reason to really look around. They're financially just making it worth his while to stay committed to and not make visits elsewhere. You look at Cameron Wilson. He's committed to Syracuse. They've shown good things on the field. Florida State's shown good things. He's kind of intrigued and going to go back there for an official visit. Nebraska's pushing to get him in town. We'll see if that happens. And then defensive line, you're still kind of just looking around. You're trying to figure out kind of who they. I know they have eyes on a couple places, kind of assessing just how the coaching turnover at other schools is going to affect some classes elsewhere, and maybe guys they can circle back on. So a couple of kind of irons in the fire right now, but I think it's just going to be one of those things where it's just kind of just taking swings and seeing who you can get on campus, seeing who's really interested, and kind of seeing who you can gain some traction with late.
Tim, you've spent a lot of time in contact and trying to feel where Cooper Terwilliger is, 4-star tight end from 2027. There's great connection with Trey Taylor, but a lot to like here with Cooper here and Nebraska's chances to kind of reel him in.
Yeah, so he's one where he's a little further along than most 27s just because he's been doing this for a while. I mean, I wrote in my story today, he was at the first kind of Matt Rule camp back in 2023, so he's been around the staff for a really long time, been around this for a really long time, down to a Final Four schools, kind of knows what he's looking for at this point. And yeah, wants to see every school in this top four at least once more. He's going to be at Michigan, Ohio State at the end of the year. And then I'd expect a decision shortly after. He tells me spring is kind of his timeline, but I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if he kind of pulls a trigger and pops this season, after the postseason or early in the spring. But he's a guy that feel good about where Nebraska's at. I think Iowa State weirdly is the school that I'm most concerned about. I think they've done a good job there. Iowa was at his game on Friday, and they're still kind of working, but really think he's been at Nebraska more than anywhere else. Noted in my story today, grew up watching this program, following this program. That's the biggest thing, I think, for, we talk about coming out of that game, recruits reacting and players reacting. It's guys like him and Kyler Kuhn who've been around this program, who've followed this program for a while, who've seen this over the course of the last 2-3 years. And, they saw what year one under Rule looked like and how Nebraska, and last year, Cooper Terwilliger's first game at Nebraska as a recruit was that 13-10 Iowa loss, 2 seasons ago. To see Nebraska kind of, hit some adversity and then, come out on top, that's something he hadn't seen from this program in a really long time. This guy who's watched this team his whole life, he hasn't seen that from this Nebraska team in a really long time. I think that really made an impact. And yeah, Trey's I think the reason I feel confident in Nebraska eventually getting over the top. That relationship's big. He kind of he loves Dana Holgerson's offense, the way they utilize the tight ends and the way they like I think the play of Luke Lindenmeyer too. Watching Cooper on Saturday, I was like, there's some Luke in there. Just the way he runs, there's similar movement patterns, and they both take such serious pride in their blocking.
Tell us, you mentioned Trey Taylor just briefly. Tell us about his mammoth game on Friday night. 500 plus yards passing, 8 total touchdowns. I know it came in a loss, but goodness.
Yeah, so that game had a lot of eyes on it. That was a game that's been circled on a lot of calendars in the Chicagoland area, just across the country for national evaluators. Because it's Trey and it's two of the best 27 quarterbacks in the country that both happen to be playing in that kind of in the Chicago suburbs. Israel Abrams, who's kind of going through his own recruiting process, and is currently just deciding between Iowa State and Wisconsin and a few others. But I really think that recruitment's going to take potentially another big jump in the future. Both those guys, just big frame, athletic quarterbacks that can do a lot. It was answer after answer, especially late. Our Greg Smith was out there, and I was at another game, and I just kept seeing the notifications of Trey just led his team down the drive, and then like 2 minutes later, Israel Abrams 87-yard touchdown. And it's one of those things where Trey had to keep responding. It's been a big year from Trey, obviously statistically, but what he's shown national evaluators has been in the industry. There's been a rankings update. He got bumped up. I imagine the next 27 update with rivals, he's going to bumped up as well, because the big questions coming into the year was, can he lead his team to victory? Can he kind of put the team on his back, do those kind of things? Can he sharpen up his accuracy? And can he do more as a runner? He's done all of those things. He's been excellent as a runner, extending plays. He's been sharp downfield. He has better receivers around him, and those guys are paying off, and he has a lot of trust in those guys to make plays. And then it's 2 weeks now. Both came in losses, but it was a couple of weeks ago. He was down 28-7, rallied his team back to the point where they were just a few plays away or one drive away from coming out on top. And then yesterday, or this past weekend, just going back and forth, and again, like just putting up those points, kept responding. That was a game where whoever had the ball last was going to win, and that's what it ultimately came down to.
Tim, hang on for 2 minutes. We'll be right back with you, okay?
Yes, sir.
All right, Tim Verghese with us.
Roper & Sons has been serving generations of families for over 120 years. I'm Dean Schneider, a funeral director and co-owner at Roper & Sons Funeral Home. We are proud to be locally owned and operated, serving Lincoln since 1901. What sets us apart is our commitment to providing every family the compassion and care they deserve. We personalize each service to help you celebrate the most important aspects of your loved one's life. Roper & Sons, because every generation tells a story.
Yesterday, your water heater worked just fine. Today, surprise! When you're out of hot water, just call the plumbers at Bryant. In most cases, you can get same-day water heater replacement. What you won't get is a costly surprise with the bill. At Bryant, the price you're quoted is the price you'll pay. No last-minute extras for piping or ventilation alterations. Need a new water heater? Just call Bryant, 467-1111. Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing. We do whatever it takes.
If you or anyone you care about is facing a family legal matter, call Cordell & Cordell today at 1-855-GET-LEGAL or visit CordellCordell.com to schedule your consultation.
There's a lot on the line in divorce. This is Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell, the largest family law firm in the country, with over 35 years of helping clients navigate divorce. But being big doesn't mean less personal or less local. Our attorneys live and work in your community, and as neighbors, they understand the challenges your families face. Divorce touches all areas of your life, your home, savings, retirement, and of course, kids. So when you find yourself facing divorce, you need a partner you can count on. Visit CordellCordell.com to schedule your consultation.
If you or anyone you care about is facing divorce, contact Cordell and Cordell today. With over 100,000 clients served, we understand the challenges you're facing on a personal level. Call Cordell and Cordell today at 1-855-GET-LEGAL. That's 1-855-GET-LEGAL. 1221 N Street, Lincoln.
Save big money on new appliances when you shop at Menards. We have the largest in-stock appliance selection.
We're back with more. It's the Average Joe Sports Show with Chris Schmidt and Elijah Herbel.
Back to you here with the Average Joe Sports Show. Tim Verghese with us inside Nebraska Rivals.com. Chris Schmidt, Elijah Herbel. And Tim, before we get you out, wanted to kind of get your quick early look. Nebraska, Maryland. Maryland again, some really impressive freshman All-American candidates off the edge. They lead the Big Ten with 19 sacks. Kind of ballpark this early for us here. Nebraska moving forward. What's a game plan that can win Saturday for Nebraska? They're going in as a 6.5-point favorite.
Yeah, it's going to be just another. I feel like one of those games where you just have to keep fighting. You have to keep playing. It's going to be a battle of 4 quarters, and Maryland kind of showed last week. I don't think they have the gas to push through for 4 quarters. With the loss to Washington, they're young, but they're talented offensively. I think the world of Malik Washington. I think he should have been ranked higher. He was a guy I was high on coming into the year, just because on top of the physical tools. Mentally, I just got an idea that this was a guy that's capable of leading a locker room at a very young age, is capable of kind of elevating a team and uplifting, the people around him. They have a pretty solid receiver room of specifically, I think, guys that can win one-on-one battles. Dorian Fleming in the tight end room is a guy I'm curious how Nebraska matches up with. They've done a really good job keeping tight ends, really good tight ends. They've based on the schedule at bay. This is another one that, is just a bit of an intriguing matchup. And then you have outside receivers that can win one-on-one matchups. And so it's going to be another solid test for the secondary. I think you learned a good bit of how they played this week, what they're capable of. I think that's going to be something you're going to try to bait. I think the goal defensively is bait Malik Washington into some mistakes. You're going to need to steal a possession from them. On the other side of the ball, it's don't let mistakes get you down. It's a very boom or bust defense. They do a good job at creating havoc and creating turnovers, but down, teams are able to move the ball in them across the course of full games. Teams are able to throw on them pretty consistently, and so you can't like for Dylan, it's there may be an interception in there. You can't let that get to you. Offensively, you're going to let up a sack or two. It's going to happen. This team has recorded at least 3 sacks in every game this year. So it's going to be one of those things where you can't let mistakes bog you down. You can't, even when you get behind schedule, you can't let that bog you down, because there's going to be opportunities. This team has shown you, or this Maryland team has shown you, there's going to be opportunities to get deep on them, to break through for a big play. But you just have to keep playing, and you have to keep just kind of fighting.
In terms of recruiting, I guess there's a lot of freshmen getting big minutes, big snaps for this Maryland football team. What type of impact has Loxley had in that area recruiting wise? Because it feels like, this year especially, just so many hits in the recruiting process.
Yeah, it's been just a real just focus on the DMV and, not letting the top talent in the DMV go other places. Zahir Mathis, their big 6'6" edge rusher was at one point, trending to Ohio State, and even committed to Ohio State at one point. But, Ohio State was the heavy favorite there. And then Maryland came through and was like, hey, listen, we're going to play you early, and we're going to, make you treat you like a priority guy. We're able to get him. Sidney Stewart was a steal. Malik Washington, they did a really good job pitching him on being the leader of the program, staying home, doing it for Maryland. They have Zion Ely, 5-star edge rusher, number 1 edge in the country, committed in the 26th cycle. And they're really trying to put it together. They're really going for it. I think they're capable of, we'll see. I don't know exactly what the ceiling is. But with Zion, with Malik, with what that offense can be, what that defense is kind of turning into, they kind of have a chance to kind of cause some trouble here in the Big Ten these next few years.
Tim, we'll get caught up next week. Recap Nebraska and Maryland. Appreciate the time as always, and keep up the great work with Inside Nebraska and Rivals. Appreciate you, man.
Sarah, appreciate you guys.
There he is, Tim Verghese, with us here on the Average Joe Sports Show. Recruiting Blitz, catch that and his work with Steve Merrick on YouTube with Rivals and Inside Nebraska. Yeah, I mean, Loxley's never not been able to pull talent. I mean, he's been pretty incredible at finding high-level talent. Typically, that Chesapeake region was always kind of a Penn State hub because of James Franklin's past time as a coordinator at Maryland. You look at what Maryland's been able to do on the recruiting trail. You look at Virginia's ascension. I mean, super talent rich. Virginia Tech's down. So, I mean, it's a region. Nebraska tried to go out that area. I mean, you look at DeMornay Pearson-L from the DC area, and Jason Ankra also from that region. But right. That's been a while. Not a lot of guys come out from crab cake and football country. Yes, it has.
I was going to say, though, with this Maryland football team, if we take it back to Big Ten Media Days, remember what Loxley said about his team last year?
No, he had locker room issues. Had lost the team. He had guys that were playing for themselves as opposed to playing for Maryland, playing for the paycheck as opposed to playing for the win. And I remember hearing that comment and being like, well, I guess time will tell, because he was turning to young guys. It was inexperienced guys, a lot of freshmen and redshirt freshmen that hadn't taken many snaps this year. And he seemed bullish on what this team could be because he thought he had a locker room full of guys that wanted to show out for Maryland. And with what Tim said there, I mean, staying local, recruiting the local guys and getting them on the field early, he's got a team of guys that look like they want to play for Maryland, led by the quarterback, Malik Washington. I mean, people are saying like, oh man, he's going to be a great quarterback at such and such school. I think he's locked in for the long haul at Maryland. I think a lot of guys in that football team they're bought in. They are, and you're gonna have your growing pains, you're gonna have your lumps, but you're also gonna have your triumphs. It's always about consistency. And what is Saturday turn into? Is it going to be kind of the signature win for Maryland against a 4-1 Nebraska brand? There's other games on their schedule. I mean, they want to take down Penn State, obviously, but people have been doing that or have a chance to do that this year. I'm not calling Nebraska a signature win for Maryland, but it could be. It could lead to
Nebraska's still a brand.
It could lead to bigger things for this Maryland team.
Nebraska's still a brand. And when you look at the last 10 years of Nebraska, every team out there that is in that middle pack of the Big Ten has seen what Nebraska's done for the last 10 years, and they think Nebraska is gettable.
Sure.
Nebraska's you're going to get the opposition's best shot whenever you play for Nebraska, because what recent history has shown is that teams can come in that aren't favored and go beat Nebraska.
Sure.
That's what recent history has shown. That's what Matt Rule was kind of getting at in that halftime speech with Akron. It's like, man, I want guys to stop scheduling Nebraska, to stop thinking, man, we can get a paycheck, we can go in there and win football games. That's referring to non-conference, but it's the same way in conference is teams get up to go play Nebraska because what they've seen over the last decade shows them, hey, if we put in a good effort, we should be able to beat them. And Nebraska's trying to change that narrative, change that script. But it's a big game for Maryland.
Well, it's a big game for Maryland, big game for Nebraska. I mean, on the road for the first time, really, truly. And who knows how much, the Big Red Army is going to travel. There'll be a lot of Nebraska fans there for sure, but what's the number? Let's get our starting 5 shout outs. Appreciate all of you, all the Joes in the stream on YouTube. Arlo in. Justin is here along with Big Red Rules. Uncle Larry stating a fact. Saturday was not comfortable. The old saying, get comfortable being uncomfortable. I think that is maybe a motto for 2025. Anonymous here. Shane from Hill Country. Brad in. 3-putt. Good to have you. Doc is here. Rocco says, I don't think we've given Rule and Will Compton enough credit for getting Coach Eck, for sure. NASCAR Eric here. Black Hills Brendan checking in. Chris is in. Tuck. And, of course, Captain Tim is in. We'll be back for a final shot here, hour 1.
Contact Wellman Heating and Air Conditioning now for Carrier Cool Cash rebates up to $2,100 and 0% financing for 60 months. Combined with the new LES City and federal tax credits, the incentives really add up. See what's possible with Wellman Heating and Air Conditioning, your local experts for total home comfort. Learn more about Carrier Cool Cash rebates, 0% financing for 60 months, and what's possible at wellmanheating.com. Wellman Heating and Air Conditioning and Carrier, for the world we share.
Hi, it's Olivia Munn with my shelter pets, Frankie and Chance. Say hi, guys. When I adopted them, I discovered that they both have incredible personalities. Chance's sole purpose in life is to love and to be loved. Frankie is a little bit of a scoundrel and always entertaining. They're a little bit of a lot of things, but they're all pure love. Adopt pure love at theshelterpetproject.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council, the Humane Society of the United States, and Maddie's Fund.
When a loved one passes away, it's important to take time to mark the transition of life. I'm Dean Schneider, funeral director and co-owner at Roper & Sons. Whether you choose to have a funeral, memorial service, or celebration of life, we understand that the gathering of family and friends is important. A service commemorating the life of a loved one brings together those grieving so that they can celebrate a life well lived. Roper & Sons, we're here to help you honor your loved one in whatever way you choose.
Which room in your home could use new flooring? Carpets Direct is your #1 source for all things floors, providing free in-home estimates, unparalleled service, and a 2-year guarantee. Your home should be your sanctuary, and Carpets Direct has you covered. From plush carpet, luxury vinyl, hardwood, laminate, and sheet vinyl flooring, Carpets Direct is the ultimate flooring destination. Call or visit today, South 48th Street, Lincoln.
Deciding on a college with your high school senior can be a little overwhelming for parents. But applying for money to pay for it is simple. FAFSA, the free application for federal student aid, is now easier than ever with fewer questions and faster fill-out times. If you have a high school senior, now is the time to apply for thousands of dollars for classes, books, and housing. Get started, Nebraska, at dothefafsa.org. Sponsored by Education Quest Foundation. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Save big money on new appliances when you shop at Menards. We have the largest in-stock appliance selection from great brands at the best prices. Ready to take home today. Whether you want new laundry appliances or need upgrades for your kitchen, you'll be sure to find appliances that'll make your life easier. Visit the largest in-store appliance selection today. Plus, check out Menards.com to view all of our great deals.
We're back with more. It's the Average Joe Sports Show with Chris Schmidt and Elijah Herbel.
Back with you one final time this hour, Blackshirt Hour, a little bit after 5. Mr. Blackshirt himself, Charlie McBride, going to be with us. Jay Moore. We're a couple of weeks away, Elijah, from the road show in Minneapolis at the Graduate Friday. And so we get you set up ahead of Nebraska and Minnesota, right across from the stadium there in Gooferland. And, we'll be rocking 4 to 6. Real Red Reaction follows from the Minneapolis Graduate. And, we'll do the weekend edition Saturday morning show from Minneapolis before me and Junior hightail it back to Lincoln.
So that's your roadie. The wheels have been turning.
Are you
state roadie as opposed to an RV? You want to hear my idea? You've seen my truck before.
No.
You've seen my truck before.
I like your truck.
It's got the topper on the back, yeah?
Mm-hmm. So you want to sleep in the back of your truck?
I'm going to build a platform.
Okay, like a loft.
A little loft.
A mini loft.
A mini loft. So I'll have the storage underneath, and then it's going to be a plywood platform. I'll put down a sleeping pad and a sleeping bag.
Explore this for you. Okay.
We'll sleep in a Walmart parking lot or something?
No, I mean, that's fine. Or a Camp KOA. Just make sure you do your research on the rest stops, okay? Pick a different year to go to Penn State.
Why? Because of my luck?
No, because they may be 5-3 Penn State when Nebraska goes there.
Oh, gettable?
Yes.
Don't forget here, Schmitty, I am 0 for 11 on away games for Nebraska. 1-0 on neutral site games. Thank you, Arrowhead. But 0-11 on road. I think it's either 0-10 or 0-11.
See, my record, I have We started going to do shows at the Graduate in Minneapolis with Searles back in 19. It's not gone well. That was a dreadful hoodie game. You had the 2021 game where it was me and Dolman, and there was the invisible electric fence for the running game inside the 10. That was right after the Michigan game where Nebraska came out super flat and then rallied. And then what else did I miss? Has it just been 2 times up there?
The Jeff Sims debut.
Oh, yes. We were there with Kranak, and we saw Pearl Jam, and things looked good. 2 fumbles and a pick later, walk-off kick, and Rule has his right fist wrapped the following media day. You know, poor dude.
Yeah, that was a rough one.
Like, yeah, you had that, and like, what happened? Oh yeah, we were bad we were bad luck for the team that year. We were in Boulder and we were in Minneapolis.
Mm-hmm. You and I have just been bad luck, generally speaking.
Right. So if we separate here, we did bring a little bit of something. We infected Ohio State last year,
which was still a loss.
Yeah,
but here, think about it this way, Schmitty.
I'm just saying,
go this way.
Go to UCLA.
Justice is going, so someone needs to be in studio. Yeah, I have friends going to UCLA as well. It'll be a good one. Going to sunny LA in November is recommended. I enjoyed the heck out of that last year, but Penn State is a college football cathedral that I want to see.
Just wait a year.
I don't know. We can go hang out at the Spindler tailgate.
I know. Mark, God love him. We'll try and get Mark on here to get a Maryland preview. He is going to be our correspondent in Terpland. So we'll have to do that later in the week. But yeah, that's kind of his stomping grounds.
What you for some reason you and you've never even been there, but you've heard bad things about going to Penn State based on one game 10 years ago.
It's Penn State, dude. It's the middle of nowhere. You're never gonna get there.
It's a college football cathedral.
It's brutal. All right, we'll take in hour 2. We'll ask Uncle Charlie what game he should go to.
Limitless Male says it's all fun and games until your testosterone plummets. Testosterone levels can start falling as early as age 30 with symptoms like no energy, poor sleep, brain fog, belly fat, muscle loss, and mood swings. If this sounds familiar, get your testosterone checked at Limitless Male. We'll get you back in the game with more strength, energy, and confidence. When you feel this good, you'll wonder why you waited so long to get a free consult at Limitless Male. Get scheduled today.
My brother-in-law died suddenly, and now my sister and her kids have to sell their home. That's why I told my husband we could not put off getting life insurance any longer. An agent offered us a 10-year, $500,000 policy for nearly $50 a month. Then we called SelectQuote. SelectQuote found us identical coverage for only $19 a month, a savings of $369 a year.
Whether you need a $500,000 policy or a $5 million policy, SelectQuote could save you more than 50% on term life insurance.
For your free quote, call SelectQuote at 1-800-743-8080. That's 1-800-743-8080. Or go to SelectQuote.com. 1-800-743-8080. That's 1-800-743-8080.
SelectQuote. We shop. You save. Full details on example policies at selectquote.com/commercials.
Let's go!
You're still glowing, flirting, grooving. You've still got it. But your immune system weakens as you age, making it harder to fight flu, pneumococcal pneumonia, RSV, and COVID-19. Vaccines are a key part of any health routine and help strengthen your immune response. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. Schedule in minutes at vaxassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Lincoln's local news, talk, sports, and weather station. FM 101.5, 1240 AM, KFOR, and KFRX HD3, Lincoln.
From ABC News, I'm Brian Clark. The Senate's scheduled to vote this evening on a government funding bill that could end the 6-day shutdown. But so far, Democrats have refused to support the measure because it does not restore Medicaid cuts or extend health insurance subsidies. But President Trump said,
We are speaking with the Democrats, and some very good things could happen with respect to health care.
Democrats have not indicated they're talking to the White House. The government shutdown is having an effect on air travel as more air traffic controllers call out sick. FAA documents show that Burbank in Southern California is going to suspend normal flight operations for 6 hours tonight because it won't have any controllers. Earlier in the day, Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy said,
in a job that's already stressful, this shutdown has put way more stress on our controllers.
They are having to work without pay. He said the skies are safe. President Trump says major U.S. cities are not safe, and that's why federal troops are needed.
I think that's all insurrection. I really think that's a really criminal insurrection.
He said he'd enact the Insurrection Act if courts were, quote, holding us up, as a federal judge in Oregon blocked the administration from sending National Guard troops to Portland. The city's police chief told ABC that protests outside of an ICE facility there took up just one block and usually involved 20 to 25 people. A separate federal judge declined to immediately block deployment of troops to Chicago. Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker said,
Donald Trump is using our service members as political props and as pawns in his illegal effort to militarize our nation's cities.
Indirect talks between Israel and Hamas have begun in Egypt, centered on the first phase of the U.S. deal to release hostages and end fighting. And federal prosecutors say a man had 200 explosive devices in a tent outside of a church where the Supreme Court justices were holding the annual Red Mass Sunday. You're listening to it.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-859-3220. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-859-3220. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-859-3220. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. Call 800-859-3220 or biglou.com.
Two people identified in a murder-suicide case from last Friday. Good afternoon. I'm Elijah Herbel, KFOR News. New information about two people found dead inside a home in South Lincoln on Friday morning from an apparent murder-suicide. Lincoln Police Chief Mashawn Morrow says officers were called twice on Wednesday and again Friday on a welfare check to a home near 14th and Sumner.
During the investigation, officers determined that there was an urgent need to make entry into the home to make sure that both were safe inside. Unfortunately, when they entered, they found 51-year-old Sterling Jordan and 51-year-old Jennifer MacArthur deceased on the floor of a bedroom.
Morrow says MacArthur had multiple gunshot wounds, while Jordan had a gunshot wound to the head. Leah Droege with the Friendship Home, an emergency shelter for domestic violence victims in Lincoln and Lancaster County, says in the last decade, they have seen an increase in the number of people they are serving.
On average, 167 people a day are residing with us in shelter or housing services. That number has tripled in the last 10 years.
3 women in Lincoln have lost their lives in 2025 due to murder-suicides. More about this story is up at KFORnow.com. A 15-year veteran of the Omaha Police Department is recovering at an Omaha hospital after he suffered a gunshot wound to the head during a firefight with a suspect at an incident this morning at a gas station near 120th and Dodge. Chief Todd Schmidt says he and Omaha Mayor John Ewing did pay a visit to the officer.
We visited with the officer. We were able to talk to him. We feel that his condition looks very good at this point as far as a prognosis.
According to Chief Schmader, 2 officers were called about someone who walked inside the gas station acting erratically and aggressively. Both officers encountered the suspect outside where they talked to him and gunfire erupted. The suspect is in custody and there is no ongoing threat to the public. Rain expected to move on from the area by 7 o'clock tonight. Otherwise, 56 degrees and overcast here in the capital city. For KFOR News, this is Elijah Herbel.
Time for your shot at $2,000 with KFOR's Pumpkin Payout. Just enter this hour's word at KFORnow.com for your chance to win $2,000 from KFOR. Here's this hour's winning word.
Lantern. That's Lantern, Lantern, Lantern.
Enter that word at KFORnow.com, and you could be today's pumpkin payout winner of $2,000 from KFOR.
Here's what everyone is talking about today.
Another judge blocks President Trump, this time to send the National Guard to Oregon. Meanwhile, the president is ordering 400 Guard members to Illinois with help from Texas Governor Abbott. The U.S. Inspector General says Nebraska now ranks near the top nationwide in prison overcrowding.
You'll know everything when you stay connected.
Live from Lincoln and broadcasting across the state of Nebraska, it's the Average Joe Sports Show. This is the place for Husker sports with the biggest names, the best interviews, and all the inside scoops.
I got a front row seat with a big tub of buttered popcorn and a greasy half-live chicken leg.
Now, here are your hosts, Chris Schmidt and Elijah Herbel.
Back with you. It's hour 2 of the Average Joe Sports Show. Chris Schmidt, Elijah Herbel. The Blackshirt Hour is here. As we'll get caught up with Uncle Charlie, Mr. Blackshirt himself, Charlie McBride, in just a moment. Jay Moore going to be with us also this hour. Get Jay Bird's take on Saturday. We say hello to Mr. Blackshirt, Charlie McBride. Coach, Nebraska hangs on against Michigan State. It was good, and then it was rough, and then it ended up okay. Bit of a roller coaster. How you doing today?
Oh, I'm doing okay. I keep watching those games, and I keep thinking, are we going to do this again? And no. And, I mean, it looks like, oh, Jesus. But anyway, good. I'm glad the outcome came the same. It's still the same problems, I think, and might as well get old and be honest, right?
Yeah. Well, and the problems right now are on the offensive side of the football, Coach, with, holding on to the football and protecting the quarterback and getting open. And, I mean, your defenses did that to a lot of people, made the quarterback hold the ball or go get him before he could get rid of it.
Well, yeah, I know. That's the problem. I think that's about 75% of the problem is he just can't get his feet set. He can't, and that's what I think. And even in nowadays, the way they think, I think you got to have, I hate to say it, but you got to have a quarterback that can move. And look at UCLA and some of these things. And I'll tell you the secret about those guys is UCLA is I think they're in the quarter system. And when they're hanging out at the beach all the time and practicing, they're bad.
Yeah.
And then they get to school and they get good. That's where they're at now. And I mean, they got some athletes, and they're going to surprise a lot of the Big Ten people.
Well, what can you say with UCLA about Coach Neuheisel? Yes, Skippy Neuheisel's son. It was his first time at any level of football actually calling the plays for an offense. To go put up 40-plus points on Penn State in your first ever time doing that?
Half the time he didn't call the play because he hit the wrong button, so Nico called his own play. I'm not kidding you.
Well, he acted like it at the end of the game. I mean, it got a little bit out of hand, and I think that quarterback could probably just call them all and forget it.
Yeah,
and he's pretty good. And the only thing is he's a pencil. I mean, he really is thin. He's not very well put together, and so he's got to be. They better protect him good because he's going to get hammered a few times. And I can remember some times with real big guys and stuff like that. We had people, and they never saw the end of the game.
Yeah.
And it's tough business, and they're calling less stuff, and it was kind of different. In this game, I watched it close because I know that last week there were some things made, and they all kept their mouths shut, which is probably the best thing for the conference. rather than make a big deal out of it, and then suspended a couple of guys, I guess, or something.
Yeah.
I heard. I don't know whether that's true or not, but it doesn't make any difference. But the Holden is going crazy. I watch this group, and it's still that, but whatever, These guys next week are they've hired some. I think that one of their coaches is the defensive coach, is a guy from Michigan, and he's pretty good. Done some good things as far as getting them organized and stuff, and that's helped a lot, there. But I think if our guys just get don't make the mistakes that they made and focus every play, you got to focus on things, and it's the younger guys don't do it, and the older guys got to do it. So,
Coach, I gotta ask you. Nebraska's 4-1, and I think we were talking about this last hour. The noticeable difference with this football team for Nebraska is their mentality. They always kind of keep punching back, and that's a good thing, and a different thing than some past teams. But from a philosophy standpoint, the Big Ten, what the weather turns into. Is Nebraska going to be able to live life throwing the ball 60% of the time and running the ball 40% of the time? That's what they're at right now.
Okay, well, the answer. I could tell you the answer to that. Why were we a running football team?
Weather.
I mean, yeah, and you can tell, you can talk till you're blue in the face, but it doesn't mean anything. And Tom wasn't a rocket scientist as far as that stuff. That flat had the answer. With the weather. I mean, what do you want to know? I mean, it isn't. Mars isn't going to hit the place right away, and so that's just like it makes sense. The wind. Look at last week. Did you see the wind?
We felt it.
Beautiful. Well, I'd rather run the football down their throats and take my time off the clock and have the ball and that. But no, you can talk till you're blue in the face. And, we're old guys, so they go, hey, he's too old, so the hell with him. and that's the way it is. I mean, that's okay. Look at what's happening politically. It's, the old guys are a bunch of jerks, and the young guys, they know they all want to be communists, so go ahead.
Coach got a question in the stream from Game Dog. He's like, ask Uncle Charlie what he did with his group to get him ready for the first road game, especially that first conference road game during the week of practice. Maryland's not going to be easy, are they, for Nebraska?
I didn't do a thing.
Okay.
I tried not to make a big deal out of it. One of the things is you start, you want them to get their heads in the right direction. And it's important that we play the way we play. It's not important where we're playing. Oh, when those kids get done, did you hear the crowd? They'll say no. I mean, when you're playing and you're concentrating on playing, you're playing football. And so I really didn't. I thought the best thing is just to not make a big deal out of it, because, you had enough to get ready for. And that I spent my time on doing that.
Coach, special teams and defense, right? I mean, what do you think of the defensive line? They got after Michigan State pretty well, and he had some guys really make strides.
Well, he's done a good job, and I tell you, they at least one thing is they now special teams mean something, and I think some of those guys like being on special teams. There was always a time when there's people, I don't want to be on this, and I don't want to be on that. they were, they get in pro ball and they think they can, because they're making a lot of money, they don't have to do that stuff. Well, I know there's been times when we've tried to get the younger players to play and find a place for them and do that, but Tom always said, be sure you get enough older guys and on the team and stuff like that. And pretty soon you get focused on one team or, a couple extra guys in there, and it works out pretty good.
Charlie McBride with this here. And Coach, whenever you talk about the importance of special teams, I don't know the stat off the top of my head, but your percentage of wins goes up incredibly whenever you block a punt. Nebraska almost returned one to the house as well with Ja'Cory Barney on that. Like, are you surprised to see how quickly the special teams has flipped at Nebraska from liability to something that is now winning you football games?
Well, the thing that happened, I was a punter, and the thing I like the best about that is the punter got killed when he kicked the ball. No, I mean, they planted them. I mean, if you're going to block it that way, there's nothing, you can't miss him. You're going to get a penalty if you don't block it. And so he made the guy feel bad, and things like that. And that's good. That started it. But, you got a good athlete who's on top of it. And he picked the ball up and get in the end zone. And that's what I'm talking about, having good players in the game and not just going in because I told you could play as a freshman, and put them on that team. Half those guys don't want to be on it anyway, but they got a bunch of guys that want to be on it. And, they got a good coach. They got a darn good coach, and he's enthusiastic, and, he could, he can make you move. And so they're having fun.
Charlie McBride's with us on Monday with Charlie here on the Average Joe Sports Show. Coach, we've talked about all three phases, the defense getting better, offense trying to get some things figured out, and then special teams being a difference maker. When it comes to tight ball games, why do you think Nebraska's been better? Why do you think they've been more resilient this season with some games that could have gone different directions? I know they're not perfect, but they look a lot better.
Well, I think number one is they got a lot of players that are savvy and that have been around the horn a few times, so that at least they've been around here a few times, and it's not easy. And I think a lot of are conforming to the rules. They're forgetting about themselves and thinking about the team more. And I think that's one thing I think he's done a good job at. He's got the kids thinking about each other a lot more, and you can tell by the way they're moving around. I really like the way they're going after people. They still, if I was going to say one thing about the team, if I don't start seeing some tackling drills, I'm going to commit suicide here. But it's there's some things that that you could go in and settle, and the other thing is people don't ever talk about it is pursuit drills and angles, and that's something that that they've had a little problem with, and they don't. I don't know that they have pursuit drills or do any of that kind of stuff. And I think a lot of the reason is they cut out those days from 15 to 20, from 20 to 15, and that cuts out those things because it's more important to have the ball where the guy's running a pattern or whether the guy's running his route or, and stuff like that. And the other thing is the thing that helped us a lot was we had a multiple running game.
Yeah.
And people don't realize that our passing game was basic. As soon as the safeties did something, we're going to throw and we're going to get a touchdown. I mean, it was all play action pass, and and stuff like that. And when they start really jumping on you, that's when we, and I think if you look back, we probably led the league in scoring and we're last in passing. And, it was a crazy way to look at it, but we were first in the nation sometimes in running, at least in the top 3 in rushing offense. Mm-hmm. And I don't remember when we weren't in the top 10.
It's Charlie McBride with us here on the Average Joe Sports Show. And Charlie, we got to wind things down. We got about 60 seconds left here. We said last hour we'd ask you, I'm looking for road trip advice. I'm going to go to one away game this year. Should I go to UCLA or should I go to Penn State?
Neither.
No, where would I go?
Yeah, where would you go?
That time of year, I go to UCLA like in a minute, but they're dangerous. I'm going to tell you something about UCLA, and you can check this out. I think they're on a quarter system, okay? And this is the truth. This isn't some that. And before they even play a game, they played about 4 games or 5 games
before going to school.
Before the school on that quarter system, so they all been down at the beach. Hey man, we're having a good time. And then when they get together and they don't, you better watch out because boy, they're loaded with athletes.
Yeah,
they are loaded, and people don't know how good they might be able to get.
Well, it was just wondering what they could be this season. They had a rough start, but they whacked Penn State. I just told Elijah, Coach, that it's the never-ending trip. That's the word on getting out to Happy Valley. It just takes forever, and forever never comes because it's in the middle of nowhere. You've had to go to Penn State 100 times.
Oh, I've been to Penn State. You can all shake hands with the guys going by in the bus at their houses. I mean, they're so close to the curb. I mean, their front door is right there. And you go through some of those small towns.
Yeah.
And because they widen the street and they put them at the bottom of their steps. Mm-hmm. So it's interesting. But it is out up in the boonies. And Harrisburg is, at least that the airport is not like once you get to the bottom, it's not a crazy drive to get there, so it softens the blow a little bit.
Coach, you take care, have a good week, and we'll check in with you next Monday.
Okay, guys, have fun.
Thanks, Coach.
We'll win again. Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Bye now.
Mm-hmm.
1-800-743-8080 or go to selectquote.com. 1-800-743-8080. That's 1-800-743-8080.
Select Quote. We shop. You save. Full details on example policies at selectquote.com/commercials.
I'm back to doing what I love and more. Thanks to the Good Feet store.
Do you want to be more active and start exercising, but cannot because you know you're going to have pain or discomfort? I'm a martial artist, a pilot, mountain biker, hiker. The thing that brings me down is my feet. When my wife finally talked me into going into the Good Feet store, the salesperson there immediately started investing himself in my problem. This is not something that you could solve online. There's got to be somebody there that can help you find that fit. You put in the arch supports and your day becomes better and the clouds go away and it's a good life. I wear them all the time. Good Feet has saved the day.
You deserve a better life too. Come into the Good Feet store today. Visit the store at 27th and Pine Lake Road across from South Point Mall near PetSmart or at goodfeet.com.
Thanks to the Good Feet store.
Good Feet, because you deserve comfort in your life. Good Feet products are proudly made in the USA.
When I go into some places, it's like a scavenger hunt. They just kind of point and say, I think it's this shelf over here. But when I go to Handyman, they'll take you right to it.
You've got your very own Handyman to help remodel your home.
I had them guide me along and say, well, what's this sink made out of? I needed Handyman to let me know what was best for mounted underneath the countertop for my kitchen. But I did buy everything because it's good quality. My sink is amazing. We got a great faucet. It was a Moen. I wanted a nice, streamlined, clean look. That's why I went with Handyman. Full remodel, top to bottom. It's not a house anymore. It's our home. Thanks to Handyman for giving it that feel.
You still have time to update your home before the holidays. Check out our working displays and save on all kitchen.
All-State, a 2-year starter for the Big Red and an NFL vet. The Blackshirt Hour continues with a not-so-average show. It's Jay Moore on the Average Joe Sports Show.
Back into it, the Blackshirt Hour powers forward here of the Average Joe Sports Show. Jay Moore with us, Blackshirt Husker NFLer, and find him with Big Red Wrap-Up every Tuesday. Jay Bird, kind of a wild, crazy, weird ball game, but a good win for Nebraska, 38 points put up, a cover for some, and Nebraska now 1-1 in Big Ten play before they head off to College Park. How we doing?
I'm well. Yeah, that was a roller coaster ride of emotions during that game. How quick it started off, being up 14-0. Get a first block punt for a touchdown since I don't remember when. But then, got hats off to Sparty for battling back and taking control of that game late in the second quarter and into the first part of the second half. But I think, it just shows a testament to just the mentality of this football team. It's not going to be perfect. It's not going to be clean, but they're going to keep battling. And you kind of saw that with the Michigan game just a couple weeks ago. There were easily could have got a hand. They fought and keep battling. And this one, losing the lead. But again, you keep your head down, next play mentality, keep battling, and boom, it changed. I did not feel good about where that game was obviously heading. I was kind of just, you go through scenarios like this, and like, well, what the hell am I going to tell Schmidt and Elijah on Monday? What am I saying on Big Red Wrap-Up? And on Tuesday night, trying to put lipstick on a pig, right? And it's just, you start thinking about how you're going to try to put some context to if they end up losing that game, but they battled back, man, and some excellent play calls. Obviously, there's some things that still need to get fixed, but that's every game. I do think the weather had something to do with that a little bit, but overall, again, you're 4-1. You got to win. I think Michigan State's still a pretty good football team. Now you get your first true road test of the year, and they got to get ready because Maryland's a damn good football team.
Well, Jay, just as we all expected, if you were to take it back to late July or August, we really all expected that the quarterback, the offensive line would be the ones out there struggling on the field at times. There's going to be the special teams making big plays for the positive to help swing the game in your favor. What does that say to you about this build of Matt Rule, that two of the spots that we were really comfortable and positive about coming into the season was offensive line and quarterback? Those two groups both kind of had their struggles on Saturday, but it's one of the most maligned units over the last 10 years, the special teams, that goes out there and kind of sparks the team and gives them something to play for in that second half.
I knew the special teams would be improved. I told you guys that. I've told everybody. That's how good Mike Heckler is, and that's what kind of energy he has. This wasn't going to be close. And I said, the special teams performance was going to be at least worth an extra 2 wins this year, because just that's how good he is. And you've seen that already. They had a punt return called back. You get a block punt for a touchdown. But the punt return game has just completely changed. Not as many kickoff return opportunities just with the wind and things like that. But it's a threat now, Nebraska special teams. Before it was a liability. Now it's definitely a strength and a threat. But looking at the O-line and quarterback play, I think, they both go hand in hand. Obviously, Holgerson made some great play calls. The Hunter, the execution on the Hunter, the screen pass, the jailbait screen, if you want to call it, that was very well executed in the fourth quarter. That was well ran. It's just there's some times where the lack of run game is struggles, and Dylan seems to not have great sense of urgency in the interception he threw. I think that was in the second. I can't remember, second or third quarter. It was definitely going heading south. I know that into the wind, but not quite sure what he was seeing. That guy Hunter was covered, and the linebacker was just sitting right there in the kind of that hook to curl zone, and makes a play on it. Some things, just you'd like to see the offense production be a little more consistent coming out of bye week, and I can't. It was lacking. Obviously, the big plays helped. Love the creativity they had down that first touchdown in the red zone with with Harburg back there, with Brayola and Emmett. Love that. Hopefully they can continue to use that wrinkle because they can do a bunch of different stuff off of it. But yeah, there was still some obviously sacks and pressures given up that you'd like to see get cleaned up. But when I say, I mean, without a true threat of Dillon running the football, it makes it tough. It makes it very, very hard to run the football. It's essentially 10-11 football. That's hard. You might have to figure out what you want to do, bring more tight ends in the block or fullback, whatever you want to do. But yeah, it just didn't look as clean and crisp as obviously everybody wanted to coming off of bye week. But still, there were some good plays thrown. I mean, the escapability of Dillon and kind of scrambling to his right and finding Barney there open on the sideline, that kind of got the momentum completely switched after that play. So they're still doing good things. It's just it's kind of all or nothing right now. And when it's going good, it's going good. But when it goes bad, it goes bad. I mean, that one after I think we got one of Singleton's picks. I mean, 3 straight sacks. I mean, that's bad football right there. And they're all or nothing. They're hit or miss right now, and you can't get that. You got to kind of get that stuff cleaned up, and they will. But I was a little surprised by just some of the execution and lack thereof after 2 weeks off, and you'd like to see just a little cleaner play. But again, you get the win. You're happy with that. You still got to get some things cleaned up. Obviously, heading into Maryland.
Take me into the mind of a player, and we've talked about the resiliency because it did feel, and Rule touched on it, like UCLA 2.0, right? Where, I mean, crowd's dead. They're taking the air out of the football. I mean, they had a 10-minute drive aided by a couple of penalties. They couldn't throw it against you, but here comes Childs with the scramble ability. But you get your opening drive of the third quarter, you call a fake, and the look was there, the play call for it. The guy made a play. Here comes Sparty to get a touchdown to bring them within a score, and then first play from that answer drive is the interception, and then here comes Michigan State again, a touchdown to take the lead. And then you hit on the 3rd and 10 to Barney that was so huge. But as a player, Jay Bird, are you caught up, or are teams that don't come back from adversity like that, are they caught up in the avalanche, so to speak, versus moving on to that next play?
I think you can get caught up. College football momentum is huge. It's when you make big special teams plays like that, like we had a block punt for a touchdown. I can't remember the stat for it, but it's like, like 90% of the time you get a block punt for a touchdown against you, that team usually wins that block the punt. It's a crazy stat. Now I don't know if it's that, but it's up there just because the momentum and just it just always works in their favor. I think Callahan told us that stat when I was back in the day, because we had a punt blocked against us at Kansas my junior year, and he rattled it off to us like every day for the next 2.5 years for it seemed like. Yeah, you can good teams. I've always said this, and it takes the maturity. You got to kind of get there. You can't pay attention to the scoreboard. It's just, you have to take every play. It's that next play mentality. You can't get too high when you're up too big. You can't get too low if you're down. I mean, there was games we were down early on, and I think my junior year, Texas Tech at home, we were down 21-3, I think, at one point. And we're just like, here we go again. But we just kept battling. We battled back and took the lead that game. Obviously, we all know how that ended. With that late game field goal, but you just got to go to work and you can't worry about what just happened, whether it was good or bad. Just go out there and try to do your job. Whatever play is called, you try to execute to your best ability. And I think that's what's great about Nebraska right now. They have that mentality. They go out there, and even if what hits the fan, they're just like, it is what it is. We'll try to fix it, correct it, but we got to keep playing. So I think good, mature teams do that, and I think, last year, obviously, even other years previous with different coaches, I mean, that easily could have got out of hand. But they kept battling, they kept making plays, and just found ways to get it done. And you can't. I think immature teams definitely you can get overwhelmed by it and almost try to do too much or think you got to do something different, but you can't. You just got to do your job and know that the other 10 guys have the same mentality around you. They're going to execute and do their job as well and make those plays. And Nebraska did. They just made more plays at the end of it, and they didn't panic. They didn't. They didn't try to do anything different. They just go out there and made more plays at the end of the game and got the job done.
Jay, a guy that I thought did his job really well, and I don't think he had his best performance against Michigan, but after a bye week, I saw probably his best performance as a Husker. I thought Williams Nwaneri was really, really good off the edge, and I think Matt Rule even mentioned him today in his press conference, but just a guy that was kind of wreaking havoc in the backfield and struggled against the run against Michigan, really seemed to take some strides, and he got Blackshirt early last week at practice, and he really showed why, I think, against Michigan State.
Yeah, I'd agree. He was much improved. That was that guy that the ceiling is the sky's the limit for him. His ceiling is very, very high. Has all the God-given tools and abilities to become a all Big Ten type of player, but he has to do it consistently. Just because you've done it for one game doesn't mean you got it. He's got to approach every week the same way going forward. He's got to do it against Maryland, Minnesota, Northwestern. But yeah, it was nice to see him take a jump, and he's made some other good plays. I know one of the plays I was impressed with doesn't get highlighted, but in Michigan, I know he didn't have his best game there, but he kind of got sucked into the pile a little bit and was able to chase Underwood down on the sidelines on a play going into the north end zone in the second half. And I kind of saw that, I'm like, whoa, I mean, that dude's 6'7", 280 probably. And that showed some athletic ability there. Like I said, if he has all the tools. Now you just got to hone him in, right, and get dialed in and attack it the same way each and every day. But obviously he made a nice jump in that bye week, and he's got to continue to do it. He can do it consistently, and hopefully he does it. Then everyone kind of sees what he's doing and wants to up their play a little bit more. But the defense, they had a couple, plays where, that 3rd and 14 where I think they ran a draw and they got 10, 13 yards off of it, and they obviously converted the 4th down play. That was maddening. But I think this defense took a step in the right direction on Saturday, and a big part of that was Williams Nwaneri's play. I couldn't get out of my mouth there for a second.
Jay Moore with this Blackshirt Husker NFLer. Jay Moore, some more with big number 44 and the Blackshirt Hour. Good to be with you. Monday edition here, the Average Joe Sports Show. Spotify, iTunes, Google Play for the pod.
Time for your shot at $2,000 with KFOR's Pumpkin Payout. Just enter this hour's word at KFORnow.com for your chance to win $2,000 from KFOR. Here's this hour's winning word.
Lantern. That's lantern. Lantern. Lantern.
Enter that word at KFORnow.com, and you could be today's Pumpkin Payout winner of $2,000 from KFOR.
Hey, it's Bill Huff and Elijah Herbel from the Morning Hookup. Coming up in a Tuesday on the Morning Hookup, we'll welcome back Robin Wash at HuskerOnline.com. Also from HuskerOnline.com, Brian Munson joins us to talk recruiting. Also, we'll talk Matt Rule's Monday press conference. That and a whole lot more in the Morning Hookup from 9 to 11 right here on KFOR.
Do you have 3 ex-wives and your current trophy wife wants a life insurance policy 3 times the size of the policies you had to purchase for your previous mistakes? If so, you need to call Big Lou at Term Provider, 800-859-3220. Big Lou is intimately familiar with your problems, and if you're 50 to 60 years old and in reasonably good health, a $1 million policy should only cost about $100 to $200 per month. Big Lou may have a solution for your previous policies as well. You may even save enough money to lighten the load on your new $1 million policy. Remember, call Big Lou. He's like you, except he's only on number 2. Call Term Provider at 800-859-3220. That's 800-859-3220 for $1 million in term life insurance that you can live with. Call Big Lou at 800-859-3220. 800-859-3220.
Confidence is knowing you're ready to handle whatever comes your way. That's what it feels like to take on your workday with Cintas. They make sure your AEDs are up to date, your fire extinguishers are tested and inspected, your floor mats are cleaned and delivered, and your workwear looks good, feels good, and is freshly laundered with the Cintas Apparel Plus program. So are you ready to take on today? Visit Cintas.com.
Oh, I'm ready!
And get ready for the workday.
Let's go!
You're still glowing, flirting, grooving. You still got it. But your immune system weakens as you age, making it harder to fight flu, pneumococcal pneumonia, RSV, and COVID-19. Vaccines are a key part of any health routine and help strengthen your immune response. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. Schedule in minutes at vaxassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
KFOR is now available in high-definition stereo.
This is the good stuff. Listen in your... We're back with more. It's the Average Joe Sports Show with Chris Schmidt and Elijah Herbel.
Jay Moore with us here on the Average Joe Sports Show, Blackshirt Hour. So we're talking Nebraska defensive line, that step they took. You had Winery and McCullough. Both those guys, Jay Bird, off the edge. They had 2 sacks for Winery, 9 quarterback pressures, quarterback hit, 6 hurries. I mean, they were big time. Nebraska's secondary with that defensive line play that keeps on coming, and the linebacking core. Let's just hit all 3 levels. Really used the bye week well. What's your assessment right now of Nebraska's secondary with what they're doing to pretty good quarterbacks?
Yeah, and they don't have one of their better players even playing right now with Hartzog still being out. Their ability, I think, just those guys have played a ton of football. I mean, that's just what it shows, and the experience back there with C.R. Wright, Andrew Marshall, Singleton.
Guthrie's playing good ball.
Guthrie's, he's a young player, but got thrown in that role. You get Hartzog back. Hopefully, it sounds like maybe this week they get him back, and we need him back there. He's one of our better players. I just shows you there when you've played a lot of football, and I always say like you're out there with live bullets flying. You don't get too high, you don't get too low, and you're able to kind of keep a steady pulse and a heart rate back there to communicate, and that's what good secondaries do. And your mind gets racing and things speed up for you. That's when people fail to communicate. And I think the secondary just doesn't get. They're cool and calm back there. They can communicate the necessary things, whether it's between them 4 back there or within the linebacker crew, because they have to communicate with those guys too. So, they're their special unit. I mean, their ability to. I mean, Marshall came in and came downhill to fill in some runs, 2 on the edge. That was really good football. That's hard to. Those are hard plays to make as a corner. Just to keep your eyes on your guy and then in the backfield at the same time. That takes really good eye discipline. So they got to keep it up. They're going to keep getting tested going forward. But statistically, what they're doing through 5 games is not going to go unnoticed. And then you see what Cincinnati did to Iowa State this weekend, and what Sorsby's done, and what they're able to do against that team at Arrowhead. You got to. I know some people are like, I don't know, but it's been pretty consistent, and if those front, call it 7 or 6 guys ahead of them continue to get better, they're also that secondary has become even more difficult to attack, just because you get that quarterback gets, all it takes is a half a second to get sped up, and they can make bad decisions and get the run game fits cleaned up, and those linebackers fit better in the run and start playing with a little better technique and helping them out. That's only going to clear things up for those guys in the back end. They've been fun to watch, man. I mean, Singleton was Big Ten Player of the Week with his 2 picks, and I think he had 6 or 7 tackles. So not surprised at that at all. Those are the guys who played a ton of football.
Jay Moore with us here. And Jay, as you look at that secondary, Bryce Underwood probably had the best day against him, and he was 12 of 22 for 105 yards through the air. I mean, we're talking levels of dominance from the secondary. I don't know if I've ever seen it in my lifetime watching Nebraska. Is that where you're at too? Like, how good is this secondary actually when you put it in a historical?
Yeah, it's hard. I mean,
or how's the run defense?
Yeah, that's what's tough, because it's not like Nebraska has, you look at, that 09, 2010 defense, the secondary with Prince and Dennard and Haig and gosh, I know. Yeah, I mean, there's those guys are really darn good
as well.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But they had a really good defensive line too. And usually those guys kind of go hand in hand, because the D line's so good. Quarterbacks don't have time to throw; they make bad decisions. And I mean, Nebraska, they're getting better, but they don't have a truly dominant guy that's rushing the passer, or that are getting home with four guys. And sometimes Nebraska's bringing 5 or 6 guys, and they're kind of in man-to-man coverage or man-free situation, and they're executing. And if they're not, rarely, other than the Michigan game, the leaky yardage after the catches, they've been there. That's going to happen sometimes. Your guy's going to catch a ball. The timing of it's perfect on the offense, and you just get them down. They've been pretty good there too. But yeah, just things haven't been perfect up front with, that you want to call them havoc plays, tackles for loss, sacks, QB pressures. It's gotten better, but it hasn't been to where I think it needs to be. And the secondary is still able to execute at the level they have. And you say those numbers, it's freaky, it's impressive. But it tells you, when you have an old secondary, they've seen a lot, and it's the communication of it that helps, and it helps immensely. I don't even want to think about next year. I mean, I don't have to get the cart too far ahead of the horse there, but having the guys that play that much football, that you become a real special unit, because you've seen everything, and nothing's really too big of a situation for them.
Jay, what's your early take here on Maryland, Nebraska, the matchup? We know what Maryland wants to do. They got talent and speed on the edge. Williams, a good quarterback. Offense has got to take a step forward, be cleaner. Right now they're at a 60-40 pass to run ratio.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I respect the hell out of Maryland. Obviously went into Madison and won there. It's hard to go in there. I don't care what you say about Wisconsin. They put up a good fight at Michigan this weekend. I think they're still a halfway decent team, but that speaking of a veteran secondary, you got a true freshman quarterback back there for Maryland. So hopefully you can get them confused. You still got to be able to go there and stop the run. You got to Maryland's quarterback's athletic. He can tuck it and get some yards too. So you got to start there. But offensively, again, you got to get better. Dylan's got to show a little more sense of urgency, I think. O-line's got to do a little bit better. The wide receivers, are continuing to get open, and but just figuring out ways to help Dylan out, help this O-line out, other creative ways to get the run game going. I know, I think Maryland, I don't know if they're leading the country, but I know they're leading the Big Ten in sacks. I think they got 19 so far through 5 games. So that's a little concerning with how Nebraska is holding up back there with protecting Dylan. So again, I don't know if they're Michigan-esque front four, but those are big numbers. So either they're bringing a lot of pressure, or they got some really good edge rushers, which I know they got both. I mean, Maryland's been able to recruit. Loxley's been able to recruit back there, and I know there's a lot of talent around the Maryland area as well. So you got to. It's all 3 phases, man. You got to go in there. I know, and Maryland just gave up a 20-0 lead to Washington, and Washington was able to go there and get the job done. And that's a tough game to play for Washington on a 3-hour time change. So, listen, I fully expect Nebraska to go in there and handle business, but it's not going to be a walk in the park. It's not going to be easy. They keep making mistakes offensively, like they've had, turning the ball over and giving up a lot of sacks. They'll come out there with a loss. So they got to be able to go in there and silence the crowd. You got to run the football. You got to control the clock. You got to win on special teams. You got to win the turnover battle. It's going to be a four-quarter game, and but I feel good about where they're heading. I think Holgerson and his crew will get things figured out and put a good game plan together for Maryland at 2:30.
Jay Moore with us, Blackshirt Husker NFL, our Big Red wrap-up at JMoore44. Bird will holler next week. Thanks for the time.
Yep, you got it. Thanks, guys.
Good to spend time with Jay Bird and talk some Big Red ball for him. Catch him, Big Red wrap-up. A couple more thoughts from Matt Rule and the dreaded steak at a beer bet for Monday Night Football. I have lost 3 in a row.
Let's make it 4.
Please, no.
Too easy.
Hey, can you blow up some balloons for Jack's party?
I can't. I'm so congested.
You need Sinex Severe from Vicks.
Sinex Severe Nasal Spray.
Yeah, just Sinex. Breathe.
Sinex Severe instantly relieves nasal congestion and works 6 times faster than nasal decongestant tablets. The 12 hours of relief allow you to get back to the moments that matter without congestion.
Daddy, we need more balloons.
On it. Try Sinex Severe from Vicks. Just Sinex. Breathe. Use as directed.
Tried everything to stop the cold air from leaking through your windows? Weather stripping, thermal curtains, even the latest DIY hack, bubble wrap? Instead, replace them with Heartland of Nebraska Windows. Hey, it's Jill St. James. That's what I did. Heartland of Nebraska Windows is a local, family-owned business with an A+ rating with the BBB. Call Kathy for your free estimate and take down the bubble wrap. You can get more expensive windows from a bigger company, but you can't get better windows from a better company than Heartland of Nebraska Windows.
If you or anyone you care about is facing a family legal matter, call Cordell and Cordell today at 1-855-GET-LEGAL or visit CordellCordell.com to schedule your consultation.
There's a lot on the line in divorce. This is Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell, the largest family law firm in the country, with over 35 years of helping clients navigate divorce. But being big doesn't mean less personal or less local. Our attorneys live and work in your community, and as neighbors, they understand the challenges your families face. Divorce touches all areas of your life, your home, savings, retirement, and of course, kids. So when you find yourself facing divorce, you need a partner you can count on. Visit CordellCordell.com to schedule your consultation.
If you or anyone you care about is facing divorce, contact Cordell and Cordell today. With over 100,000 clients served, we understand the challenges you're facing on a personal level. Call Cordell and Cordell today at 1-855-GET-LEGAL. That's 1-855-GET-LEGAL. 1221 N Street, Lincoln.
Helping you celebrate the life of your loved one is what we do. I'm Logan Schneider, a funeral director at Roper & Sons Funeral Home. A celebration of life event is a unique and meaningful way of honoring your loved one. It provides family and friends an opportunity to come together and celebrate their life. By sharing favorite stories and memories through photos, memorabilia, and the music they loved, we can help you create a gathering as unique as your loved one. Roper & Sons, celebrating the lives in our community for over 120 years.
This is the story of the one. As a custodial supervisor at a high school, he knows that during cold and flu season, germs spread fast. It's why he partners with Grainger to stay fully stocked on the products and supplies he needs, from tissues to disinfectants to floor scrubbers. All so that he can help students, staff, and teachers stay healthy.
Miss anything today? You can always find the full show online. Just search for the Average Joe Sports Show wherever you get your podcasts. Now, let's get back to the show. Here are Chris Schmidt and Elijah Herbel.
One final time here, Monday edition, Average Joe Sports Show. Bill Bender with us tomorrow from the Sporting News. Look towards the weekend of college football, his take on Nebraska, Maryland. Let's hear real quick, if we can, from Matt Rule. And he kind of talked about the process here of winning football for Nebraska. It's a little longer cut here, but I believe it's cut 15 here when we talk about culture and special teams, turnover margin, and this team finding a way to win. Cut 15.
Before you win a game, you can't lose it. You know, I mean, like, don't give the game away. Like, don't beat ourselves, right? Like, I think when you're like there's 3 stages of winning, right? There's eliminating losing football, right? That's the first year we were minus 16 or whatever we were in turnovers. It's going to be no matter what we wear, no matter what music we listen to before the game, it doesn't matter if you're minus 16. Then you start playing winning football. Then you start trying to play championship football, and turnover margin, all those things they start to, because it's one thing to not give the ball away, which we're doing a pretty good job, but we're taking the ball away. That's jumping up, which that's about playmakers. That's about the way you're playing. So I think it's discipline. I think it's when guys all understand, like, hey, before I can make a play, I first have to do my job. But then after I do my job, I have to go make a play. That's the hardest thing in football now. Like Bill Belichick said, do your job. And coaches say, do your job. And then when the game's on the line, they say, no, go make a play. And kids are like, do I do my job or do I make a play? Well, we try to clearly define it as like, hey, do your responsibility. And then run over there and hunt and go make a play. And so I think our guys are getting that. It takes a while to get that. But yeah, we're proud of those stats. We're proud of being in the tops in the country at throwing the ball. We're proud of being in the tops in the country at stopping the pass. Some areas we have to improve upon. We know that. But I do think the hidden ones are the penalties, special teams, the turnover margin. The thing with those things, though, is they don't carry over. And that's the biggest, like I would rather be +1 every game in the turnover margin than be +6 on the year. Like I just want to win it every game, because that gives you a chance.
So that is Matt Rule. Good layout right there. -3.5. Chiefs are favored. One of my gambling concierges, Kent, checking in the email, says, with this streak you're on, I need to see if I can get 7.5 tonight.
No. 7.5.
I'll take Jacksonville and 7.5 tonight.
You want Jacksonville and 3.5?
No. I mean, that's what the line is.
Yeah, that's the point.
I mean, what do you believe about Jayville here?
I think they're dangerous.
Well, they're 3-1. They won at San Fran to open the year. Okay. They beat the Texans, who knows what they're about. Cincinnati beat them. I believe that was with a healthy Joe Burrow.
That was the game Joe Burrow left, wasn't it?
And they still won? That can't be.
I believe so.
Really?
Yeah. And then what happened last week with Jacksonville?
Yeah, Burrow. Yeah, Browning beat them. Yeah.
But then they beat the they beat the 49ers last week.
Do we have a bet?
If you give me Jacksonville +4.5, I'll roll with it.
No, I want the 4.5.
You want Jacksonville +4.5?
Yes.
I'll take Chiefs -3.5.
No bets. Windows closed.
You Jack. I'll take Chiefs -4.5.
No, you won't.